Hi and welcome to Run Tall with Tim. I'm Tim. I'm glad you stopped by the channel. I always enjoy the time that we get to spend together. And I hope wherever you are, that you're happy, healthy, and staying safe. On today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the Hoka Bondi X. The Bondi X is a max cushion daily trainer that features a carbon fiber plate. Now, carbon fiber plates are typically reserved for those race day shoes or shoes that you want to pick up when you're out doing some speed work. So does it work in a max cushion daily trainer? Well, that's the question we're going to try to answer today, so stick around. But before I get into it too far, I always like to demonstrate what it looks like to run in the shoes I'm about to review for you. So let's do that. But then when we come back together, I'm going to take a real deep dive into Hoka Bondi X to see if it's the right shoe for you.
Held me back when I tried to move on from your life, so you stole my life by clarity. So hold me back, now you're here, 'cause I'm mad, show no fear. Wanna let you know just how it felt. Oh no, 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 no. Don't you think we're good? There's a way we could be. No, oh no, 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 no. I know the way you look at me, I know it too well. Now I'm bulletproof, you might find you're gone, but I'm flying high. I'm bulletproof, don't ever touch the ground. You can never bring me down. You can never bring me down. Can never bring me down. 'Cause I'm bulletproof. Yeah, I'm bulletproof. We've been up, we've been down, trying to figure things out. End up losing myself in this but I'm done being dumb. Gotta end it all now. I won't ever turn it around again.
Now these are a neutral road shoe that I ordered true to size. They retail for $200 US. For a men's size 9 on my scales, they came in at 10.2 ounces or 289 grams, which is a little bit lighter than the Bondi 7, which came in at 10.8 ounces or 304 grams. And for a women's size 8 for the Bondi X, they have a stated weight of 9 ounces on Hoka's website or 255 grams. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the Run Tall family. I'm glad you're here and you found us on that vast universe of YouTube. Now, I post running shoe reviews, comparisons, and shoe battles weekly. So if you enjoy watching running shoe reviews and other videos that are about running, be sure to subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time that I upload new content. So I'm going to start with the midsole first and talk about the X factor in the Bondi X. Now here they had tons of compression molded EVA foam. They have 33 millimeter stack height in the heel and 28 millimeters up in the forefoot. So they have a 5 millimeter offset from the heel up through to your forefoot. Now that's pretty typical for Hoka. You know, lots of Hoka shoes tend to run between that 4 millimeter and 5 millimeter offset. And they do feature an early stage meta rocker, which simply allows you to move through your gait cycle a little bit more smoothly, a little bit more quickly. So it's more aggressive in trying to help you roll through your gait cycle. And as I mentioned, these do feature a carbon fiber plate. And one of the questions that I had or first came to mind is if they put a carbon fiber plate in a max cushion shoe, is it going to take away from that cushion, soft run experience that we're so used to, that really the Bondi's built its brand around? And I can say that no, it really doesn't. I was surprised that these still feel just as cushioned as some of the other max cushion daily trainers that they have out there. And it certainly feels as good, or if not better, than the Bondi 7 does. So even though it does have this carbon fiber plate, it's not a super aggressive design to the plate, but it does give you a little bit of a bounce or a little bit of help as you move through your gait cycle, while still maintaining that plush, comfortable ride that the Bondi has built its name around. Now we can see the placement of the plate. Now this blue line or streak that runs through the midsole section of the shoe, that represents the placement. So you can see where the plate does, that carbon fiber plate cuts down pretty low up there in the forefoot of the shoe. It does start to rise a bit up till it gets to about where your heel would be setting almost on top of as you move from the forefoot through to your midfoot back to your heel area. So you have plenty of compressed EVA foam that you're landing on before you get to that plate. Now I found that this plate helps to maintain or create a really nice, easy transition as you move through your gait cycle, and it feels most comfortable for me when I am striking up right about where that curvature of that early stage meta rocker would begin. So as I'm landing on that forefoot of the shoe, I'm really rolling through my gait cycle in a very smooth, almost like pedaling a bicycle fashion. So let's continue to look at the geometry of the shoe. I'm going to flip these over and we can see that they have a really big wide landing platform up in the forefoot, something that Hoka is pretty well known for. They stay wide through the midfoot section of the shoe all the way back through to the heel. And you can also see that carbon fiber plate with these cutouts here. I'm not a fan of that. I wish that they would do away with it. You know, they have it in the Carbon X too. I mean, it's kind of neat that you can see the plate, but I'm always getting stuff stuck in there, and you can see that's just definitely indeed the case here. Now, I believe that this is a part of a shell of a hickory nut that I came across on the sidewalks, but I'm always getting pebbles and other types of sticks and things that are caught in that cutout where they show you the carbon fiber plate. I don't need to see it to know that it's there, so I wish that they would do away with that. And as I flip these over, we can see that they do feature the swallowtail type of a design. We've seen that in other Hoka shoes recently this past year. Yeah, I'm fine with that. It's pretty comfortable. It makes for a nice landing platform or crash pad, if you will, if you're a heel striker. And I do find these to be comfortable regardless of how I'm striking the ground. So kudos to Hoka for that. So as long as we have these flipped over, let's take a look at the outsole and see how they're protecting all of that soft compressed EVA foam. And here you can see that they have blown rubber basically in some pretty strategic areas. They're around in the heel where you're likely to strike the ground, and they're up in the forefoot of the shoe as well, just to protect all of those areas that are likely to see wear first. Now I'm going to switch and grab the mate to the shoe, because one of the concerns that I have is that compressed EVA foam that isn't covered by rubber. Now these shoes have about 25 miles on them, so I'm going to definitely want to revisit these when I get to 100 miles. Because I am a little concerned. I mean, you can see with this compressed EVA foam that's not covered by rubber, that's already chewed up a bit there in the midfoot section of the shoe. And I think it's because I picked up a stone or a pebble, but regardless, for it to show that kind of, tear or wear there in the midfoot section already is a little bit concerning for me. And I could hear, because of that soft compressed EVA foam, when I did pick up that stone and it was kind of like stuck in that compressed EVA, I could actually hear it hitting against the carbon fiber plate. So again, that's a little bit of a concern of mine, but we'll see going forward, whether or not that those concerns are going to be warranted. When I get to maybe 100 miles or so, then I will revisit these definitely. So let's change gears and we'll take a look at the upper. Here they used an engineered mesh material. It's lightweight, it's breathable. I love the texture and the feel to it. Now they do have some plastic overlays as we work our way around to the side of the shoe. You can see their Hoka name there across the midfoot section, and they do have some additional TPU or plastic overlays there as well, just to give it a little bit of structure to the upper. Now I found that these fit just a little bit loose for me. Now getting locked in and secure across the midfoot section was a little bit of a trick. So, and here's why. So when I first laced these up, I could feel right away that I had a little bit of rubbing on my Achilles. And so I had to loosen them up. But if you loosened up the laces there using, I was using a runner's knot. If I loosened that up a bit, then I had some heel slippage. So I was kind of caught between either feeling a little bit uncomfortable back in my Achilles or having it feel just a little bit too loose and having my foot kind of slide around there in the upper. I haven't been able to really dial these in yet. I think I'm going to get there. I'm going to be changing up some socks, trying some different things along those lines. I did try running without the runner's knot. That didn't seem to help at all. So for me, these fit just a little bit loose, especially across the midfoot section of the shoe. So let's turn our attention now and we'll take a look at the eyelet chain. Now here you can see that, it's really just a standard eyelet chain, nothing really special going on there. I wish that I could get a bit more locked in and secure across the midfoot section. I don't think it has anything to do with my sizing, because I wouldn't have wanted to go down a size at all because I had just enough room there between my longest toe and the end of the shoe. So I think it really has more to do with just how wide a base this is. This is a really wide shoe. So if you have a wider foot, I don't think you're going to have the same issues that I have. My foot is a little bit more narrow, and so this upper seems to just kind of drape across it, so I'm not really able to get locked in like I would like to get across that midfoot section of the shoes all the way back to the heel cup and to the heel counter and the tab of the shoe, so I don't create any hot spots or discomfort to my Achilles. So let's take a look at the tongue. It does have a semi-gusset, so you don't have to worry about it migrating around. It's going to stay in place. It's lightly padded, lots of perforation, so it allows some airflow, so it's not overly padded where it's going to make your feet hot. I was fine with that. The only issue that I have is that it does feature this notch, and that notch is kind of cut a little bit low. So the laces do cut across the top of my foot. So they're not being, my feet are not being protected by the tongue there up at the top, because the laces come right over the top of that notch. And this kind of goes back to the fit of the upper for me. It was a little bit loose fitting, and I had to tie them a little bit loose because of an Achilles issue that I was having, which meant that anytime I was trying to pick up the pace, or maybe if I was going downhill, my feet wanted to slide forward, and it was catching right across where those laces were, and it was a little bit uncomfortable. So much so that I had to stop and try to fuss with the tongue and retie the laces before taking off again. So for me, I wish that the tongue was just about a 1/4 inch longer, or that they just did away with that notch altogether, so that the laces, so I had a layer of protection between the lace and the top of my midfoot. So let's take a look at the padding around the heel collar and the tab, and you can see that they have plenty of it. Lots there to help keep you comfortable when you're out running. I did mention that I had some Achilles discomfort. I think that has a lot to do with the deep heel pocket that they have, which I typically do like having a nice solid deep heel pocket for me to get locked in and secure so I don't have any heel slippage. But in this case, they do not feature an Achilles heel flare. So that heel tab kind of rolls inward. And that's where I was feeling the discomfort really on my Achilles. And I think maybe if they had a heel flare rather than the more traditional style heel tab that they have featured in this shoe, I wouldn't have had that issue. Now, if you enjoy having a pull tab, you're in luck. Hoka did include a nice big pull tab to help get your shoes on. Now, Hoka did include a removable insole, and I always appreciate that. In this case, it's pretty thick, it's well cushioned, and adds a little plushness to your run experience. Now, these are not a stability shoe, but they did feel pretty stable to me to run in. And from a stability standpoint, I'm talking about pronation. I tend to over-pronate, and I didn't have any issues in these. I think in part because they do have a nice big wide landing platform, but also they create a lot of stability back in the heel area with all of the structure that they've included. So if I try to pinch that together, you can see that there's a lot of resistance there. But also they bring that EVA foam up pretty high up onto that upper. All of that creates a really nice stable feeling when you're out running. Overall, I think the Bondi X works. Adding that carbon fiber plate didn't take away from that plush run experience like I thought that it might. Instead, it added a little bit of energy and a little bit of extra something as I rolled through my gait cycle. It helped make my gait just a little bit smoother so that I felt like I was running a little faster and a little bit easier with a little less effort than I thought that I might. And while these are not a speed shoe, I do feel like they make for a great choice for a long distance daily trainer that you can log a lot of miles on and have your legs feel a little fresher at the end of it. Now I'm going to be excited to bring these back to you after I get about 100 miles on them. I got a little work to do to see if I can figure out how to get locked in and secure across the midfoot section all the way back to the heel cup so my heel doesn't slip around and I don't have any kind of discomfort across my Achilles. So I'll be excited to talk about these and bring these back to you here in the future. Are they worth $200? I think they're overpriced. $200 is a lot of money for a long distance daily trainer, especially when you can pick up their direct competitor right in their own stable of shoes with the Bondi 7 for considerably less money. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it for you. As always, run tall, run strong, be kind to one another. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on Run Tall with Tim.
You held me back when I tried to move on from your life, so you stole my life with clarity. So hold me back, now you're here, 'cause I'm mad, show no fear.